Hello. Okay, I don't know if I'm live or not, but okay. Hi, this is like this sort of this live May 20th. I missed yesterday, and thus I had to do today. I didn't want to miss 2 days in a row. So a lot of things before I get started. As always, I have had this technical problem. I was trying to connect my phone camera, but for some reason I can't connect my phone. I do not know why. Then I have these AirPods, which a lot of people tell me are not the best optimal use of voice. So I'll probably find a way to get a mic also to be able to talk in noisy environments. I think Chandni has an extra mic that I can borrow. Third, this is pissing off. I mean, I've been trying to do this live for the last 15 minutes. I'm not kidding. I was here at 8:15 and it's 8:15 and I still don't have content. Okay, I'll not try. I will do better. Cool. And in fact, this brings me to the topic of the day. The topic of the day is ambiguity. While I was walking to Starbucks, taking a rickshaw to Starbucks, Pradeep told me that today's post could be about how to live in ambiguity and what to do when life throws you ambiguous curveballs. Now, I will set the context. The other day, I was writing in my blog that while I was observing a lot of people around me, I realized that they cannot live in ambiguity. And what that means is that because they cannot live in ambiguity, they are typically hassled and they are typically not in the right mind frame to do things that they're supposed to do. Like for example, I started this video by saying that my camera didn't work, my audio didn't work, and my this didn't work, and that didn't work, and all of that. Now that is a interesting thing to be at, but it is derailing the ability to speak well in front of the camera when I talk to people and whatever camera I get, right? So we need to be able to we need to be able to become those people who can live with ambiguity and who can actually despite ambiguity, function the way they would typically function. Like, for example, if I'm sitting in my home's drawing room wherein I can be myself, I will be exactly this much comfortable as I am at a noisy Starbucks with a bad camera, broken camera, and fidgety conversations and other things like that. Now, what is happening around us? Let me take a leap from living an ambiguous life to what is happening around us. If you look at the world around us, we are probably in the most VUCA world that I have ever imagined. When I say VUCA, VUCA, volatile, unpredictable, something, 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 which is it's a four like a phrase word that is used by people to talk about how unpredictable the world is and how ambiguous the world is and how you cannot make sense of it. Like for example, we don't know if the jobs we do today will stay alive or not. We do not know if we as human race will survive another war or not. We do not know if what we eat will nourish us or kill us. In fact, in India, a friend of mine keeps sending me those jokes of random accidents. I'm laughing at it, but it's a random accident. Like some tourist is going in a boat somewhere and the boat capsizes because I don't know what, for a tiny reason. Some tourist is going to bathe the elephants and the shelter that they're standing on top of it capsizes. So in India, more so, this ability to be living in this uncertain times and ambiguous times is so much more. It's not funny. I got derailed. Sorry. Coming back. I should not do this. Coming back. So the world that we live in, the times that we're living in are very, very unpredictable, very, very ambiguous, and we must build a muscle to be able to live in these times. When I say muscle, like think of it like today, all of you are, whoever is listening, I do not know who are listening here, whoever is listening here, what if you lose a job tomorrow? And I don't want to make this a sad conversation, but tomorrow, if you lose a job, what would you do? How would you react? What would be your first instinct? Like a typical grief curve stage. Some people will be sad about it. Some people will question. Some people will say why. Some people will not even want to take this up as a honest and a reality hitting them kind of a conversation. So if you want to live in the ambiguous times, I think what you need to be able to do is operate from a problem solution mindset. Anything that you do, anything that doesn't work for you, anything that is ambiguous is essentially a problem. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but uh, the day this Israel-US Iran conflict happened, I was in Dubai, and the first thing that blasted over my head, and I saw it happening, was very, very interesting because I've never seen a war zone, if you can call it a war zone. It's not a war zone, but whatever, right? Now, when I saw it for the first time, obviously there were people running around and people were shocked and all of that, but I was able to do the following. I called my parents immediately because they're old and they probably cannot live in ambiguous times. I called my parents and said, something is happening here and so far I'm okay, and I will keep responding to you every 2 3 hours so that you know I'm okay, because I'm in Dubai, they're in Delhi, and they don't know how to react to things, right? So that's the first thing I did. Second thing I did was I ensured that my phone had enough battery, I had enough balance in my phone, and I had enough money in on me, cash money. I was not carrying cash, but I got cash from one of the nearest ATMs. I paid money for it, but I got it. So I was not prepared for a doomsday, but I had enough to be able to survive. I called all my friends to call their addresses. मतलब वो सब मैंने कर लिया. In fact, शाम को when I sat down, it had escalated because in the afternoon around 3 or 4, I don't remember the time when the first uh, wave sort of hit. I was still okay, but शाम को बहुत सारा हो गया, and I was in a hotel. And next morning I actually made a video which I sent to all my friends and loved ones and said that, hey, I'm in Dubai, this is happening, and I'm okay, and I'm at a hotel, and I have food, and I have money, and I have all of that. I don't remember what the video was, but there is a video that I made and said. What happened was there that I looked at the problem. I was in the ambiguous time. My flight back home was that day when this happened. The next day the flight got postponed and pushed and all of that. Instead of crying about it, I said, okay, flight has been pushed. What can I do? Let me try and meet more people. So I ended up meeting more people in Dubai than I would have imagined to. Obviously, they weren't meeting as often as you would imagine, but that was interesting. Very, very good to actually see that they're also operating from that space. So I actually ended up meeting more people. I looked at it as a problem and said, okay, this is a problem. Let me now solve it. And to solve it, I said, okay, I need to give information. I need to have food. I need to have shelter. And then I will do whatever else I want to. So that is an example of that. I'll give you another example of this entire problem solution ambiguity space. When COVID struck, I was running an events agency, and then suddenly COVID sort of shut all of us down. I mean, there was no work for event managers, and whatever little work was there was for digital events. Back in the day, I hadn't pivoted to digital events, so I didn't know what to do. And for 6 months, I was jobless. But instead of saying that I will sit at home and do nothing, I sort of did many, many small, tiny things. Like, for example, I took workshops on note taking. I did Bomani Rani's course, not Bomani Rani's, Anjum Raja Baldi's course. I did a lot of these online workshops. मतलब मैंने बहुत सारा काम किया because I knew that today I cannot react to things. What I can do is I can be busy so that I don't degenerate into a spiral that goes down and screws the happiness. So I did that. Now we are probably in a third such instance, right? I mean, AI की वजह से नौकरी जा रही है, especially my kind of work, which is creative services, is going down the drain. So what can I do? So I said, why not upskill? So the way I have been spending my time on Claude, the way I've been asking my people to spend time on AI tools and learn things and experiment, I think it's a clear sign of how I'm operating from a problem solution mindset. So I've given you three examples, all of them mine. Uh, uh, and I'm sure if you look around, you will find many more people who've done this kind of uh, a problem solution mindset to be able to arrive at solutions when they hit with ambiguous times. Now, here is what you can do to become more adaptable to ambiguity. A, put yourself in discomfortable situations knowingly. So, for example, if you're used to taking a certain route, take a different route. If you're used to brushing with the right hand, brush it with the left hand. Neuroplasticity बोलते हैं उसको. If you are scared to do something, which could be approaching a woman, it could be doing public speaking, it could be deep sea diving, whatever is your greatest fear. Try to see if you can try do a tiny bit of that to get to it. Like, for example, मेरे case में, I realized that my greatest fear has been showing my face on the internet, and I am trying to show my face as much as possible. There are a lot of videos that I'm doing. There is pictures that are being taken that I normally do not allow, and I'm trying to confront the fear and build that muscle of operating when something threatening comes to me. Right? So you could do that. That's one. Second, you could make it into a deliberate practice. So what that means is that you go and chase those conversations, like chase a rejection. I have seen a video wherein a guy goes up to a food court, and the food court says, "Hey, can I?" Goes to a stranger and says, "Can I have a bite of your food?" Now, imagine that's a ridiculous thing to do, man. Why would somebody do that? Or why would you allow somebody else to take a bite of your plate? But the guy did that, and the guy learned a very important lesson in rejection while he was doing that, and that probably allowed a muscle in his brain to get built, which was around ambiguity. That's true. The next thing you can do. So, okay, one is confront your fears or whatever, confront your challenges. That's one. Second thing they can do is that prepare. वो बोलते हैं ना, chance favors a prepared mind. Prepare as much as you can. You know. Uh, uh, I give an example of my time in Dubai. I was prepared. I had the money. I had a bank. I had a money. I had my phone. I had my battery, and I had called all the people that I cared for. So preparation allowed me to be ready and not lose my temper. So, for example, if let's say we are staring at uncertain times, which I know we are. In fact, I've told all my people to prepare for the war mode or the eco mode. I'm saying that reduce all the spends. In fact, I had a trip planned to Singapore to meet my uh, kids. I mean, literally my kids, and I'm sort of postponing the trip because a trip to Singapore will cost me a lakh, and today I don't want to spend that lakh. My laptop is breaking, but I don't want to buy a laptop today. I want to save that 1 lakh rupee to be able to have. That kitty in the bank, and I do not know when the time will tide. So I am going to ensure that I will be in an eco mode for a long, long time. So I'm preparing for it, right? And you prepare, hoping that you don't have to ever use a preparation in action. But the fact that you're prepared will help you. Like, there's a quote that I love. It says it's better to be a warrior in a garden than be a gardener in a war. I think that quote summarizes it. I want to be that person who's preparing for the inevitable whenever that comes. It may never come, but I want to be prepared for that. That's the second thing that I would ask all of you. Now, if you reflect that into your career options, try to diversify your career options, try to learn, try to stay ahead of the curve, try to meet more people, try to have a very active social graph so that when something comes to you, you are a little more prepared for the inevitable shift, right? So that's a preparation piece. In fact, as a part of preparation, I am probably going to get more money from some more people. I will see what I will do with it. I've never asked for money from friends and family, but let me see if I want to actually go to my friends and say, hey, can you loan me 10 lakh rupees in the bank so that I have this comfort, that I have this money in the bank to take care of myself and my family and my people. So that's the preparation piece, right? The third thing that you can do on this on this entire ambiguous life and ambiguity is that work on your inner self. And I'm sorry, it sounds like woo woo here, but I sound like Sadhguru. Initials are same as CSC. But the only thing that you need to be sure of when shit happens is that the way you react to it. What that means is that if you're able to somehow find a way to be okay with all the shit around you and yet operate with equanimity, with calmness, with balance, I think half the problems will solve themselves. Like, for example, the other day I was going to meet Pooja and I was going with Chandni, and we were in a cab, and Chandni said something that ticked me off. The old sort of, would have uh, slammed the door of the car open, would have left, and I would never spoken to Chandni. But what I did was I said, okay, she said something that has made me angry. I want to fix that. And what did I do? I didn't take a deep breath. Sorry, I'm over postulating myself, but I took a deep breath and said, okay, I don't want to be that person who leaves an argument with somebody in anger. So I stayed there, and by the time we reached to meet Pooja, I think we were okay. I still haven't been able to hug Chandni after that because she left that day. But that's super important thing that I was able to uh, control my emotions. And in fact that is super important. Like reflect on this यार कि कितनी बार तुम अपने घर वालों से लड़ाई करते हो, अपने प्यार वालों से लड़ाई करते हो, अपने कॉलेज से लड़ाई करते हो, and you take on your ego कि तूने मुझसे ठीक से बात नहीं करी तो मैं तुझसे बात नहीं करूंगा. Big deal, man. मतलब be mentally, emotionally okay. Practice equanimity. Practice not having ego. Practice not chasing self. Practice being okay with whatever comes your way, and that will probably keep you happier, healthier, and allow you to uh, uh, face the uncertain, ambiguous times from here on. So I think these are the three things that I can think of right now. It's a very interesting topic that Pradeep has given me. I have not thought a lot, but I will probably do another conversation on this at some point in time. But for the time being, I will end the video here. Oh, this is a 14-minute video now. Wow, longest, I think, solo cast. Let's see if people actually watch it. And if you do, please let me know what you think of it. And if there is something that I can do to help you navigate, please write in. And with that, I'll end the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're tuning in, also give me feedback in terms of if I was talking in paragraphs or bullet points, if I was articulate enough, is this headphones working for you or not, and so forth. Thank you. Have a great day.